Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again for another DC comic review, and in this DC comic review I'll be covering issue 1053 of Action Comics Superman. So starting off with first things first, do these covers in any way, shape or form connected to something that is happening inside with the story? For the first one, not so much. The second one, again, not so much, but I do like what they've done with the cover. For the first cover, I give a 7 out of 10. And for the second cover, I give a 10 out of 10 because we actually have Ranger. That is basically the Perry White's dog, if I remember. And we have John Kent there, and that's John Samuel Kent. Now it's time to move into the stories, to which we'll have a look around. Now we'll go through the whole story of each story, and I'll give the rating or the story rating as well as rating for the art and whatever else. So moving into the first story, which is by Philip Kennedy Johnson, and we catch up with Henry Irons at Steelworks. We're introduced to the villains as well as some of the things that are happening there in the story. Of course, we get the appearance of the Superman family, and we get to see Steel, we get to see Kara, Connor, Keenan Kong, which is really nice to see him back again. And of course, one of the members takes a bit of a hit. The story advances. And we also catch up with Lex Luthor on Stryker's Island. We get to find out what's happening with Metallo and get to see a little bit more until that part moves into the next, to which we're back at the apartment, or at the Kent's apartment. And we catch up with the rest of the Superman family, and we got Lois Lane, Clark Kent, of course the Falosian twins. We get a bit of dialogue between John and one of the twins. Dialogue continues and continues once again until we find out that one of the twins have gone their own way. Alright, for the first story, I gave the a 7 out of 10. Some of the locations that took place in this was the Steelworks of John Henry Irons. We had Stryker's Island, Metropolis, and also the Kent apartment. The cast of characters consisting of Jeremy Irons, Steel, Superman, we had Connor Kent, we had Supergirl, Metallo, we had Lex Luthor, the Falosian twins, and John Kent. We also had Lois Lane. Overall story rating for this I gave was a 7 out of 10. Now it's time to move into the next story. And as the story begins, we catch up with Lloyd, who is Doombreaker, wanting to catch up with, well, Lois Lane, and something is happening there. And of course, Doombreaker gets his head beaten up. Yeah, he gets himself beaten by Superman again. As the story continues, they now starting to wonder where John Samuel Kent is, and we finally find out where he is. And thank goodness, because this can be added to the Super Son side of things. Get a little bit more of him interacting with the person who's come from another place. We get some more interaction with Doombreaker, plus also who has captured him on the transport or the UFO of sorts, until this part of the story finishes off. Alright, moving into the story 2 and its racing. The location, I think this takes place, is in Smallville. I could be incorrect, or it might be Hamilton. It wasn't very clear on that, but I thought it might have been Smallville. So do correct me if I'm wrong. We had the cast of characters of Doombreaker, Lois Lane, Superman, John Kent, plus whoever he's presently with. For the internal art, I actually enjoyed the art. There are some places where it could have been cleaned up a bit, but overall, I am enjoying the story. 7.5 for the art, for the story, a 9 out of 10. Now it's time to move on to the third story, to which is done by someone ruining Power Girl. But who knows, maybe the story can somewhat improve. So, of course, we have Power Girl and John Kent meeting up together. We get to see a little bit more that's happening in their interactions and their talk. More interaction with Power Girl, John Kent, and whoever this idiot in green is. It's the only other way I can put it, because we still haven't gotten their name. So they might as well just be a deceiver, unless they're a actual creation of the very person that we see at the end of this story. The story continues. We get to see a little bit more interaction between them until we meet Johnny Sorrow. Alright, for the internal art, I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. Moving into the story, we had no indication of location of wherever the hell it's taking place. I don't even know if it's taking place in Metropolis or not, or if this is all just a part of Johnny Sorrow's makeup of events set around these characters. That's how it's coming across. It's coming across more like a hallucination of sorts from these characters, and Johnny Sorrow is somewhat responsible. Doesn't mean it's right, not so much. Of course, we had the characters of John, Power Girl, Johnny Sorrow at the end here. Still no idea who the heck the bloody woman in the green is. I might as well call her redhead idiot face, because the writer still hasn't brought that across to us. Nothing against redheads, but it would be nice to actually know more about who the character is instead of having no name from it all. It's just useless, to which this really affects the storytelling terribly, to which the story rating is a 2 out of 10. While seeing that this is a combination review of Rainbow Press and Comics, and Super Sun's Fortress of Attitude, we'll see you again at Super Sun's Fortress of Attitude, and let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.